Matt Coronato has had some great success so far early on in his NHL career, and could we be seeing a whole lot more from the Long Island, New York native?
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jessica Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Well, today on Locked On Flames, we're going to be taking a look at Matt Coronato's journey to the NHL and where he's at and what might be next down the road for him. I think that there is so much he's managed to pack a lot in a short amount of time, and it is worth noting. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And let's travel back in time to the 2021 draft, where Matt Coronato was drafted 13th overall. I believe that was the Nashville draft, actually. So I did go back to his elite prospects scouting report to kind of see what they saw in him then versus where we're at now. And I'll get started with that. His hands form the foundation of his offensive profile. He wants to have the puck on his stick and isn't afraid to court contact to make sure he's the one driving the bus for his line. He's decisive, manipulative, and dexterous as a handler. He's got a good shot for someone who is constantly throwing pucks on net. His release is fast, and he's versatile in how he gets pucks off. That's great. I think that, we're not too far removed from his draft year, obviously, but I think it's safe to say that sounds accurate. And it's a good translation from what we've seen into the NHL. Obviously, last year was a little bit of a up and down for him. He played in the NHL a little bit and then was ultimately sent down to the Wranglers, where he had a phenomenal season. He had 42 points in 41 regular season games. I feel like anytime you open Twitter, you would see some sort of highlight or like a clipped reel of Matt Coronato scoring or doing something productive for the Wranglers, and it puts a lot of excitement and hopes into, the future of the franchise, especially with where the Flames are at right now, right? Like, we know that they are looking to build a younger and more skilled team that is built for long-term success, and Matt Coronato feels like an integral part of that. And I just have enjoyed watching him, and even watching him in the short time from last season to, this first quarter of the season, or first half of the season rather. So much has changed, and it is evident that he has worked hard. Last season, he definitely struggled finding his groove. He struggled with skating, and it was noticeable. It was very noticeable. It was hard to miss it. And you could tell that he was lacking confidence. We've seen it even with veteran players. I think of Rasmus Anderson, especially, who may have lost a touch to their game, and they're just not feeling that same level of confidence or believing in themselves. So maybe they are overpassing. They're not shooting. They aren't driving the net as hard, or whatever the case may be. for every player, or, everyone's different. But I think that is one of the biggest changes you have noticed with Matt Coronato, as well as, we knew that he had a great shot, right? We knew. um, and that became evidently and abundantly clear in the 6 AHL playoff games as well, where he racked up 6 points, and his regular season experience with the Wranglers. I mean, he didn't do too great up with the Flames, and ultimately that's sometimes what you need to do. You just need to let a young kid, especially, get his feet under him, let him get established. Last year was his first year as a pro hockey player, and to see him make that start and build off of it already as successfully as he's done it is huge. And I would say that he is progressing ahead of schedule in terms of his development, which is very exciting because you want to see him find the back of the net more and establish himself on a line with some of these great Flames players that they have. And I couldn't be more excited. We're going to talk more about, the noticeable differences and kind of where he's at now versus last season coming up next. And it feels like two different players. Last season, rookie Matt Coronato very much felt like a rookie. Even this year, with the way that he carries himself, is very different. And that speaks to that level of confidence and comfortability he has found within the Flames organization. And we will be right back after this. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million plus dollars in rewards during Pickmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your pick hits, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out and get your money instantly. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And I do just want to thank you so much. Life is busy, life is hectic, and making Locked On Flames part of your day really does mean a lot to me. And it's great when I see the recurring names and familiar names in the comment section on YouTube, or if you message me on Twitter. I greatly appreciate it. Support goes a long way. Next, or I guess 2 months from now, makes 5 whole calendar years of hosting this show, which is bonkers. But let's get back into Matt Coronato here, who has also had a bonkers start to his NHL career. And the strides he has made speaks to his work ethic. And we talk about work ethic a lot with the Flames because we know that I don't know what the right word is. They're made up of a roster of players that haven't always, they didn't necessarily all have the conventional path to the NHL, or maybe they're smaller. Maybe they were an undrafted free agent. Maybe they were a waiver claim. Whatever the case may be, I feel like calling them outcasts feels very mean. But Matt Coronato is definitely one of those players that fits in with the culture of the Flames. And the grind never stops kind of mentality, I guess. Last off season, or I guess this past off season, he hired a skating coach who he worked with, and there has been noticeable progress. I feel like saying he was Bambi, like Bambi-esque out there, is a little mean. I don't think that he necessarily looked that out of sorts, but you could definitely tell where he was losing momentum and how it was impacting not only his gameplay, but the pace of the game. And it's been, this is his second season as a professional athlete. And I would say that, this is typically the time of year where we see those college kids and NCAA turned pro athletes hit a wall, because this is typically around the time where their schedule would wrap up, or they'd go home for the holidays, things like that. But he's still going, and it's mighty impressive when you remember just how this season started. He was with the Wranglers, or sorry, he started the season with the Flames and was scratched for the first 2 games, made his season debut in Edmonton, and then he ended up he didn't necessarily look like he was NHL ready at that point, and he was sent back down. And there was a lot of noise around that. His agent was on Twitter talking and retweeting things saying how, I don't know why the Flames signed a guy like Anthony Mantha when there's young players that deserve a spot. And then like that same, like 2 weeks later, I think like in the same month, Anthony Mantha ends up needing season ending ACL surgery. So it's just like, okay, well, that's that. And obviously they smoothed everything over, but it's one of those things like we saw last season with Nikita Zadorov's agent on Twitter. But I do want to say that he has, since being recalled after his 2 games down with the Wranglers, he has been on fire, and there has been no shot of slowing him down. And he has 16 points in 28 games, which is great. He is a player that you consistently see all over the ice, and he's catching your eye. There was a game last week, I believe it was I don't think it was the game against the Lightning. I think it might have been the one before that, where he was all over the ice and he was everywhere and anywhere. I feel like anytime someone like caught my eye, it was always Coronato, whether it was for his skating or his shooting or how he was like playing defensively. He looked good and a lot more comfortable. This season, he is taking on a bit more responsibility as well. He's on the power play, first unit, which is huge, right? Like the Flames power play has been missing a lot of things since Johnny and Tkachuk left. And we started to see more pieces kind of fall off as other players left. And Rasmus Anderson was the quarterback at the first unit for a while, as far as I remember. And he didn't look good last year. I'll be entirely honest. I didn't think he looked great. And he's still quarterbacking that. And it's better this year, I will say. He definitely looks better, like he more at ease and comfortable with himself. But Coronato has had 1 power play goal as well as 3 power play assists. It's huge, right? I think that one of the biggest things that Matt Coronato can do for himself is continue to make a case for him to be on the power play. He is someone that provides that quick snap decision making and finesse with the sticks. He's got good hands, a great release, an accurate release, a snipe. And that's what you need. And that is something you want to continue to have on your power play. And hopefully at some point they'll be able to add another player like that, because the more the merrier when it comes to that stuff, right? So I guess my goal for Matt Coronato the rest of the season would of course be to just continue to prove why you belong on this roster. Continue to prove why you are worthy of those the special teams minutes and things like that, because I think that is a very strong case for him. And another thing we're going to talk about next, but he's had some recent luck, or I wouldn't call it luck, success on the faceoff dot, where the Flames have truly struggled this season. The first period against the Bruins the other night, they went 0 for 11 on the dot. That is not good. That is not how you win hockey games. That is not even how you play a hockey game. That's not a recipe for success. But Coronato has had some success, and we're going to talk more about that coming up next here on Locked on Flames. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. The Chicago Blackhawks come to town tomorrow for the Flames, and maybe you are placing an anytime Connor Bedard or Taylor Hall goal, 3+ shots for Nazem Kadri. You got it. Just visit fanduel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's fanduel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked on Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jessica Belmosto. With the ongoing changes in roster reconstruction, the Flames have some gaps to fill, some more noticeable than others right now. But the faceoff, struggles with the faceoff is definitely one of the more things commanding your attention. It's you notice it. Yeah, it's it hasn't been great. The Flames admit that their struggle to the faceoffs is the lack of right shots, right-handed centermen on their team and in general. But Wes Gilbertson put out this really good article earlier today titled, "Can Matt Coronato Help Solve the Flames Faceoff Struggles?" Which is kind of funny because I did talk about this, I believe, a little bit earlier this week in terms of, could you see him on the dot more? And I'm glad other people are noticing it too, and it's definitely something to pay attention to. So I want to read just some of the article because they're really good points and I would love to elaborate on them. Okay, so the Flames face-off woes are well documented. Perhaps Matt Coronato can help. Don't be surprised if you see the 22-year-old taking a few more swipes at the dot, although he works as the wing. The sophomore sniper has something the Flames are lacking up the middle, a right curve on his stick. Yes. I think a lot of the issues in the circle come from our lack of right-handed centermen because we're forcing guys to take draws on their offside a lot, said Ryan Huska. And teams know that, so they always put us on the side more often than not. Matt has taken draws in the past, and he's starting to take a few now for us. As long as Coronato is in the same lineup, as long as Coronato is on the same line as Captain Mikael Backlund, he'll remain a secondary option for these start of shift showdowns. That's fine. Obviously I'm not an NHL coach. I just talk about this team every day and have some opinions. Mikael Backlund isn't going to play forever. But the longer you the longer you avoid putting someone else out there consistently, it could last forever. Backlund, who has squared up for 679 faceoffs already this season, that's the fourth highest in the NHL, certainly wouldn't mind a little assistance on his weak side. That would help the 35-year-old lefty to boost his own success rate. It's not an excuse, and there are some exceptional guys out there, but most guys that have really good numbers usually have some help on their weak side, said Backlund, reminding that the Flames previously relied on righty Elias Lindholm to handle about half of the key faceoffs. For me, it was evident last year, and again, it's not an excuse, but when Lindy and me would kill off penalties together, he would take one side and I would take the other, and my percentage was always over 50. When he left, it dropped a bit. The key to success was not to keep Elias Lindholm long term. I do want to just say that. So I think really one of the biggest things is, of course, finding where you may be able to pick up, not the slack, but where your skills might be needed a little bit more. Maybe Coronato doesn't always stick on a line with Backlund and Coleman. Maybe you do move him around a little bit, so there is room for him to try on the faceoff dot, or heck, just try something. Obviously Mikael Backlund is a long time Flame. He is your captain, but at some point you have to start letting other people step in, and the more possibilities and variables you have to work from, the more information you have, the better the variables are, and you know what you're working with or working against. In 33 games so far, the Flames have won the face-off battle only 5 times. Woo! That is bad. Wes Gilbertson just, what a horrendous fact. I need to make sure I read that right. Oh my God. 33 games. They have won the face. Oh my God. Oh my God. We're going to need to start putting up wanted signs. The right-handed centerman. Has anyone seen one? Oh my God. So, obviously we know what the Flames need to be prioritizing in the draft. We have said this. And that is why Craig Conroy has been on the phone with multiple general managers since the start of the season. 5 times. Wow. That's not good. That is not good at all. Oh my God. I can't believe I read that. But regardless, we know what the Flames need to prioritize and kind of start getting their ducks more in a row. I do think that Matt Coronato is a great option for that. He has the versatility for it. He has what you're looking for, and his work ethic, again, comes back to that. speaks to his willingness to try new things. Obviously, working with a skating coach is huge. He didn't, just try to fix it himself. There was room for him to work with someone. I don't necessarily think he should become a full-time face-off taker. But if you're more confident and comfortable with him in that position, you need to make some adjustments and keep working those phones because Craig, I know someone wants to make a trade. I just know that they want to give the Flames something for Christmas or Hanukkah. Or do we get presents after the new year too? Sure. But the Flames are always the gift that keeps on giving, and we're always so excited to see what they have in store for us. But that will do it for me this week on Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay warm. It is absolutely freezing in upstate New York. It was snowing on my way home. So if it's snowing where you are, please bundle up. Drive safe. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And I will see you all next week.